Welcome to the Kpopcast. I'm your K-pop DJ and I'm joined by my co-host, Stephanie.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be here.
And welcoming in our resident Kpopcast BTS expert, it's Ariana.
Hey guys, good to be here.
And today we'll be doing a double shot of J-Hope
with Daydream and Airplane.
Letting you know if these songs are daebak or not.
But before we dive into that, first our hit replays.
Hit replays are songs we recommend you play on replay each week. But this week, we're doing a special edition of Hit Replays where each of us lists our favorite track off of J-Hope's Hixtape Hope World album. Because let's all face it, that's what we were listening to this week anyway. So Steph, want to kick us off with the song you're feeling the most?
It would be my pleasure. My favorite track off the album is track number 1, baby. That's Hope World. The song makes me so happy with its upbeat, funky sound. It reminds me a little of another song I love, Zyko's Artist. It has this like celebration, party feel, dancing in the streets, and I love it.
Hello to my whole world. 내 세상인 girl. 나만의 이야기 달려해줘 일말이요. Okay, shout out to my whole world. 그 누구한테도 두자 세상에 안 바뀌어. 소설 같은 나만의 feel.
How about you, Pilo? Did you pick something else?
Okay, you all know me. Y'all know my bias in music. You know I like those like dirty ratchet banger clangers. So maybe this isn't ratchet, but it's bass line for me. I thought it's the closest thing to a banger off of this album. And we're getting some real attitude from J-Hope. It's another side of the artist that we're seeing on this album. And it's the most unique one, in my opinion, in terms of his personality off of this mixtape. And last but not least, Ariana, what's your pick?
For me, it's going to be P.O.P., also Piece of Peace, Part 1. I really liked it because it's the beginning of that early 90s sound going on a lot in the album, and I really like that laid-back beat that they have. It reminded me a lot of the early 90s rappers that I really liked, like Tribe Called Quest and Jurassic 5, which was my absolute favorite, and sometimes even brought like a little bit of atmosphere out at some points. I really liked that drum beat and the synth playing on top with the steel pan. I just thought it was really cool. And then I also just really liked the message. It has this message of like, I want to be your hope, I want to be your peace when you need peace, you know, and being the piece of peace. Yeah. And I think it's just a beautiful message, and I think it's just such who J-Hope is, and such a good song for him. And I like a little tidbit is that he called it Part 1 because he wants to keep the conversation open. So that was interesting. Yeah, so there's going to be a Part 2 one day.
If 누가에게 힘, 누가에게 빛, I wish I could be a piece of this. If 누가에게 힘, 누가에게 빛, I wish I could be a piece of this.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Nice. Well, that was just the hit replays, everyone, but I hope that gives you a taste of just like how much we have to work with this awesome Hixtape. But moving on, it's our first daebak or not. J-Hope's Daydream is up on deck.
빛이 있다면 변하기 싫다고 나의 daydream oh daydream oh daydream ooh daydream
Yeah, so what did you think of the concept of this song, Stephanie?
I really liked it. It was simple, it was fun, it was colorful. I mean, just right off the bat, we start off with a montage of those bright seizure-inducing K-pop colors we all know and love. And J-Hope is waking up from bed as if he's the lead character in some 90s Nickelodeon show. Like maybe it's a play off of Boy Meets World. The show is Hope World. And there's this really funny moment where a hand slaps his face while he's sleeping to help him wake up right on the beat of the song. So we're just really starting off colorful and goofy.
I don't remember if you grew up in the 90s, but we had this obsession in the 90s with like looking back on other decades. And I remember at the time, one of my favorite shows was That 70s Show. And all of the visuals reminded me of the transitions that they would have in between on That 70s Show with these like bright colors and interesting designs, like almost like you'd see on a wall.
Oh, I totally feel that. It matches that same color palette as well as the font, right? Like the font that we see is
the squishy, fat font.
the font of the 70s.
Yes.
Totally. So after J-Hope gets out of bed, he starts hanging out with fishes. For some reason, there's like flounder from The Little Mermaid, like goldfish in there, and he's just having a good time in an aquarium. What the hell is that about? What does it mean?
So I actually read he did a Time magazine article, which I thought was really, really cool because this is such a big deal that he like gets his first mixtape and he gets to like be interviewed by Time. But he said that he was very influenced by 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. And he read it all the time as a kid. And he said that specifically for Hope World, he used a lot of the imagery in there, especially it starts off with the sound of the ocean. But I also felt like this kind of happened as well in this song with this idea. In the book, you have this idea that there is he's searching for freedom as Captain Nemo. Like he's searching for freedom, but he's also being confined in this box of a submarine.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So it's this idea that he's even if he's like has this freedom of fulfilling his desires, he's also boxing himself out of another life opportunity. That
makes so much sense because if you look at a lot of like the message and theory behind this, and Ariana, I know you're probably about to jump on this, but it's jumping on this. Oh, it feels so cliche to say this, but duality, right? Between two different types of
it's duality. It's all that duality.
You've got the K-pop idol J-Hope, and you have J-Hope in his dreams, his hopes and wants. Like, have you guys ever dreamed a dream and wonder like, what does that actually tell me about my own self? Like, is that how I really feel about something? And I think that's what Dream World is, or oh my God, what is the song called?
Dream World. Daydream. You just made a new song. Yeah.
I think that's what Daydream is about, because it's about him falling into that rabbit hole, right? He references Alice in Wonderland and discovering that part of himself through the dream. And maybe it's that more authentic. There we go. Guys, it's been a long day at work for me.
Yeah, I feel that.
So this is a authentic side of J-Hope that we're seeing here. And it's one that not even he himself realizes and only acknowledges it or comes to grasp with it within the confines of his dream.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of this. Is he even says in the lyrics per se, like he says, I'm not complaining that I don't get to do these things, but these are a side of me that I have. He talks about the idol side of him in Piece of Peace, which is really interesting. This idea of like being J-Hope, being everybody's hope and everybody's light. But this is that other side, which I like to call like his dark, like unfortunately it's going to go this way, his dark side. But I think that it's this idea that there are desires and hopes outside of his public persona, especially in Korea, that he cannot pursue and also be an idol, which I find interesting. I mentioned this before in the K-pop chat earlier, but I watched a reaction video by DKD TV, and they're both Korean, and they talked about, there are all these songs about, giving up things that you want for being a Korean idol. And I thought to myself, well, none of our idols do that. Think about like Justin Bieber. Like they don't give up going crazy and getting drunk and doing all these things. But he has to give these things up in order to have his career. So in this dark side, he gets to explore what it would be like to like get drunk, to fall in love. And the one that made me saddest is to cry without shame.
Yeah.
But then I also like that in it, he also like gets to wear sandals with a suit. That's like another dream.
Yeah, it's all these ridiculous things things. And, part of appreciating this song also requires understanding, like, this is how the K-pop model works in Korea. That as an idol, you're sort of forbidden from enjoying a lot of these like mortal, like humanly pleasures, because you have to be this like demigod among like people as an idol in Korea. And that hasn't quite, translated over to the American market. So this is certainly showing.
I don't think it's ever coming to the American market.
I think it could possibly go the other way. Like they might become more lax on things.
That's probably how it's going to go.
I don't think it's anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think we learned from this past year with a couple of experiences that it's not going to go that way anytime soon. But I mean, it's a very interesting thing that they have a standard to live up to, and they're really held up as being examples for the youth.
The youth,
right.
The youth.
No, it's true.
As I like to say.
Yeah. I wanted to call out one line in the lyrics where J-Hope references the song Young, Wild, and Free by Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa. And he says stuff like, so what, we get drunk, so what, we go out. I noticed he didn't say the third line, so what, we smoke weed. And that's because, like, that might not go over well in Korea.
That's an actual, like, federal offense in Korea.
Of many years.
No, I actually find it funny for a period. As Top will tell you, you cannot do that. But there's actually a funny in one of their performances for Go-Go, and I've seen this a bunch now lately. V was wearing a Legalize It sweatshirt. And I was like, do they know what that means?
Probably not.
I saw it everywhere. He wasn't the only one wearing it too, and I was like, oh, they must have no concept. That's how far away pot is involved in that.
Yeah.
So edgy.
Yeah. So I also kind of noticed some tie-ins to other videos because, of course, it's BTS, so everything has to be related somehow. There was the moment where he's sitting on top of the airplane.
Oh, right.
Which reminded me in Spring Day when he's sitting on top of the train. He can't sit inside of an automobile of any sort or any kind of... He's always sitting on top of something.
Yep.
And then I saw this on another theory video that he's always in bed or laying down. In a lot of videos, you see it in I Need You, Run, and the Wings short that he did. And then also, I felt like this is also tying into like the last few releases. So starting with the Love Yourself shorts that they had, then Serendipity and DNA, which is this obsession with space. Like everything's in space.
Yeah.
They're like trying to shoot for the stars, if you will. So I thought that was really interesting. I felt like it was a slight tie-in to what's already happened.
Yeah, definitely a lot of that. And these are like, the joys of being like BTS ARMY. You get to see all these like subtle nods and references to previous work as well. And in a way that doesn't like disrupt or become too dependent in terms of understanding the message or the main message or the story of this music video as a whole, right? But it is a nice add-on. When you mentioned about him lying down, that's very core. I mean, the bed is even illuminated at one point in this, and it just shows like that's his gateway. That's his realization. That's his way out, and that's why I think we see him like lying. Obviously, it's a dream world, so you're going to, of course, see him sleeping and waking up in different ways. Of course, they're going to play off of that. But they're showing that, like, he is swimming in these human desires, just like we all are.
And even when he's in that panoramic room with the bed and he's obviously in his dream world, the bed's still there.
That's right. And that it's when he's in that bed that he can see out, that he has that clarity, that he gets that landscape, panoramic view.
That's right. Now, speaking of the bed, that was a scene that stuck out to me a lot. I mean, first of all, because the bed is just lit and the rest of the room is dark and he's just dancing around it. You don't really see that too much. It reminded me a little of the Drake Hotline Bling.
Yes. Yes.
Or he's just dancing around. He's doing some funny like footwork. And then I realized, hey, J-Hope is a dancer and we're not seeing any choreo here. He's having fun, but like, what gives, man? I need some flips.
I wondered, so part of this was my wonder is because we would expect him to do it, maybe he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like this distinct choreography like you'd see in the group numbers because that's what you would expect him to do. But I would say that like his interpretation is still distinct because you wouldn't see any dance. You like didn't see any dancing really in RM or August D videos, but you see some in specific scenes and it's not choreographed. It's just movement, So when he's in, it's my favorite outfit of the whole thing, that green tracksuit that I want so bad. He's so free and open to move around, and he's just with the music. It doesn't feel forced, or I guess choreographed is the best word. And then he just has like this swag to him. He also dances a little bit when he's in the suit and sandals, and then in that room, which is really cool because there's all this room for him to like be free, even though like when it splits you still see the 6 guys behind him. It's still kind of cute nod to his group.
Right. There were a few other literary references in the lyrics of this, right? I mean, for all those Hitchhiker fans out there, Ariana, I know you caught it as well. The don't panic on the cell phone. What was that about?
Okay, so I'm a big nerd. And first of all, Arthur calls him, and Arthur is the main character of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the main guidebook that they have for the, basically Arthur is a little bit anxiety driven, and when he's being taken up into space, one of the books that he's given is a guidebook called Don't Panic. And I thought that was, well, one, we have this tie-in right now because Elon Musk's SpaceX actually sent up a spaceman, and right in front of him there's a big lettering that says Don't Panic. So I thought that was cool, that it was perfect timing. Also, I feel like this could be an allusion to the fact that like maybe he uses it as his safety net, so he doesn't completely lose himself in the dream. So he doesn't have to panic. He'll always find a way back.
He'll always be able to wake up.
Yeah. And you see it when he slightly wakes up after that and then immediately decides to go back to sleep.
So I guess J-Hope is into Harry Potter?
Yeah. Who knew?
Like I heard like we're going to Hogwarts, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, he kept saying Hogwarts.
Oh, it was so good. Every little literary reference made me really excited. I actually wondered about, if you look at the lyrics, he doesn't say wishing on a sky, wishing on a scar with SCAR, and I was like, what is that in reference to? So I feel like I keep saying, I think
scar or something.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was what it was. It was his scar. I was like, can it be that? I don't think it's that. But then I also am like, RM's probably involved somehow, trying to be all deep in something.
So when I was listening to this, I think the main appeal of the song is the chorus. The verses are, in my opinion, are kind of okay. I wouldn't say it's too dynamic, but it's showing a different side, a unique voice from J-Hope that we don't get in BTS as a group. But for the chorus, it's got a really catchy hook. And I feel like because it's that up-tempo hip-hop beat, like I could be DJing this in my like mainstream Western top 40 hip-hop sets. I'll just like weasel in the chorus of this song and then just weasel out right at the end of the chorus. And people are like, wait, what? Was he singing in Korean? Like what was that? Just K-pop I just listened to? Like I feel like I can get away with doing something like that with this song.
Yeah, it has a very Western sound to it, and like for me it reminds me of some trendy LA lounge with fancy cocktails that glow in the dark.
Oh yeah.
I love those.
Yeah.
A nice Cosmo. Exactly.
Yeah, I felt that like 70s funk with a samba backing, like a little bit of that coming out. It's obviously very updated in that like 90s hip hop sensibility, because that's kind of what they were doing in the 90s also, was taking from other generations.
Right.
I think that my favorite part about this song is the dichotomy of framing this very kind of sad topic and very serious topic of being split in two people, but then making it an upbeat song. It's like a really, I kept saying this is just so J-Hope to do that, you know, to make that decision, because it could be a very somber song.
Yeah. You know, I think that's certainly, that's definitely a good way to take it. But I might take a more optimistic perspective, and I would say that this isn't necessarily a dark song. It's just J-Hope admitting, like, look, I'm human too, you guys. Like, I'm not this immaculate Jesus all the time. And
immaculate Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's like I am learning what I even like myself. Like I am personally discovering things about myself. I don't know everything about me. So I think that's it's that, you know, and it's like I'm learning this as I go in my dream. In my dream,
I feel like each mixtape has a personal reveal song, and this is the personal reveal song.
I was gonna say, I was just looking online at the lyrics, and someone posted a translated comment from J-Hope on like his track album review on V Live.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that? Oh, okay, great. where he's talking about, I think this song in particular is saying the topic could seem serious, and I thought so at first, but if I focused too much on that topic, the song would be too serious. So I kept the beat like a house tempo.
Yeah.
Made the music kind of contrasting. So that's really creative.
Right.
Yeah, it's a creative choice. Yeah, for me, for August, we see in August D, it's the so far away, the one that he has with Saran, where he's talking about his depression and the things that he's dealing with on the side. I feel like this is similar what J-Hope is doing in this song, saying like, I'm struggling with this thing that's going on where I have two people, I don't have a problem with it, but it's definitely something that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's such a J-Hope response to that, which is, I'm struggling with this thing, but I'm gonna bring light to this. I'm gonna be your hope, your light in this.
One thing that someone who we always have on the show, Rodri on Twitter, he tweeted earlier that when you look at these mixtapes as a whole, what's so great about BTS is that you see the genuine side of them, right? Like with other like singles and solos from like different labels, you can't help but wonder, like, is the label having like a very heavy hand in determining what that concept will be, what the message will be, what the lyrics are? In this case, like, BTS has been given a lot of creative control over how they want to present this alternate side of themselves. So I think at least from what you're saying about like J-Hope and Suga with August D, like we were seeing something that was another side of them, and it's very genuine to who they are.
Yes.
All right. Sounds like it's about that time, y'all. Time to give our final scores. For the concept, 1 being lowest, 5 being highest. How would you rate it, DJ P-Lo?
Concept, I think J-Hope did a really great job on this. It's a nuanced message, shows a lot more about the person, and I love how the message is shown visually. So I have to give it a 4.2.
Woo!
Wow.
High praise.
Yeah, for me, it was it was really smart. I think that, this is one of those few times where I feel like the lyrics and the video match up really well. I think sometimes it gets a little bit lost sometimes, and I think this one is very direct, but also still tells a really interesting story, and you can still have theories and interesting things going on. I also just really love it. It's fun. It makes me happy to watch. I watch it at work, even when I'm working on other things. I'll just have it in the background because it's beautiful. Oops. So I'm gonna give it a 4.3. It was really great.
Whoa.
You had to one-up me there by like points.
Yeah, just by a little bit, because if I get a 4.5, I have to explain.
Yes.
Right. So I definitely agree with you guys. I like how tight the concept is. The story that it tells, how it's pretty obvious what he's talking about, and it fits with the lyrics, and all the little jokes and funny comic relief moments in there just give you a sense of his personality as well. I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
Because it is so simple.
Not a 4.25 right in the center.
No, I'm gonna stick with 4.
Wait, Stephanie, I want to call you out for this. I feel like you never give anything above a 4. Like,
I probably don't.
So is this genuinely a 4 for you, Stephanie? Like,
yeah, it's definitely a 4.
And what Ariana was asking earlier, like, what would be a 5 in your book?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if anything's worth a 5 at this point.
Okay. It's the asymptote, right? Like, it's that moment
I still
that everyone's
spring day is my 5, and I go from there.
Something with like a cinematic quality storyline.
Okay.
And it like makes you feel a lot.
Feel all the feels.
Yeah, feel all the feels. You gotta hit me in the feels for a 5.
Got it. Okay. Audio, guys, 1 to 5.
I actually really like this sound because I grew up in the era that this kind of sound was popular.
Right.
And so this is kind of it's almost like a throwback in a modern take for me. So I actually am surprised at how I didn't think it was overproduced, but I also feel like it could have been a little bit more consistent. So, and it's definitely not my favorite song on the album. I will listen to it every time it comes on, but it's not my favorite song on the album. So I'm going to say 3.9.
Yeah, that's super good. The audio is cool, but genre-wise, it's not quite in my wheelhouse. So I'm gonna give it, I guess, 3.4.
Okay.
Because I like the concept way more than the audio appeals to me. That's just his personal preference. So.
Yeah. So I have been on the internet and I've learned that you can't say bad things about BTS. But that being said, I kind of want to give, this is still a good song. If you actually look at all the songs off of the album, I think this is probably the strongest audio-wise of all the songs, next to Baseline.
Oh my God.
Next to that, this was definitely the best pick of them. That said, I was kind of disappointed by how flat the verses felt to me, and just how the monotone everything else was. I like the ethereal quality of the hook of the chorus, and that has an earworm quality, but on the whole, for the audio, I have to give it a 3.
Oh!
Wow.
Tanked it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, all in all, was J-Hope's Daydream Daebak
or not?
not?
It's Daebak for me. No questions.
Yep.
It's gonna be on in every playlist for a little while.
Sweet. Yeah, it's Daebak for me as well. Makes me happy.
And Daebak for me. No question. Concept definitely carried it through over this finish line.
Show.
그때 나를 다시 기억해 메마른 땅이 나보 태울 때저 푸른
Moving on to our second Daebak or not for this episode. It's our second shot, our second single. It's J-Hope's Airplane.
그때 나를 다시 기억해 메마른 땅이 나보 태울 때저 푸른 하늘 보며 뛰었네 나고 싶었어 그 airplane
Okay.
Oh man.
What do y'all think of the concept?
This one's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
This one seemed a lot more. I think it seemed a lot more straightforward at first. I was like, oh, airplane, airport, got it. But I was like, cool. And honestly, the whole time I was watching, I was like, oh, this would be a Drake video. Like his standing in front of like, I would say personally, like I just imagined like, views from the sticks. All I was imagining is views from the sticks. I was imagining like a private plane and just in front of it. But there's a couple of things I did notice that I think are interesting, and I think part of it carries over from the Daydream video. At the top of the video, and you see it actually later on, I don't actually think he is outside. I think he's actually still in that room with the background. The one where we see like him in Daydream looking out at the beautiful mountains and then later the stars. I think that's the same room because later on you see that room again. So I think that this might be Daydream, him and his Daydream. And you also see nobody at the airport. Now granted, that's probably also because they can't do that to shoot. Yeah, they would mob him. But I also think it's this interesting thing like, he's the only one there's no other cars, really. Yeah. There's nobody, other people near their cars. There's just nobody around. So he's by himself. You also never see him next to an airplane. It's always in the sky and him looking up. Yeah. So I wondered if there's this possibility, if it is coming from Daydream, if it's still in the same world, that maybe this is, the whole song is basically about him remembering as a kid how much he looked forward to flying and how much he wanted to fly. This is if he lived in his daydream world, he wouldn't have access to this, because if he were to go down that daydream world of getting drunk all the time, not working hard, enjoying himself, falling in love, doing all those things, he would also be giving up the option of being on those planes.
Being the idol celebrity that he is in BTS.
Yeah, being the idol celebrity. He's in a car. He's not in a plane. Right. He's sitting in a car outside of the airport.
Oh, snap.
Ariana,
you're
so I think there is a little bit of that. Yeah. I think there's at least a concept. Yeah, because at first I was like, airplane.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught it, but right at the end of Daydream, there's an airplane. Right at the end, and I thought
I actually wondered if that was going to be if they were going to do the next video based on airplane.
That's probably the hint of what the next video would be. I'm sure the fans jumped on it; they knew immediately.
And I didn't, and that's so bad.
Oh. Now, one thing we see in this video is him sitting in a room where the walls are screens, I think. Did we see that also in Daydream? That same room with the...
That's what I was saying. I don't think he's outside during that. I think he's in
this
that
whole time.
same room. Yeah, I don't think he woke up in that situation.
Yeah, he's just spending all this time in his mind then.
He's also in this completely new concept to K-pop of being on top of a parking garage all by himself. I don't think we've ever seen that in K-pop before.
So weird. I've never seen that ever.
So what is it? He's in this video, he spends a lot of time sitting in this rolly chair and just thinking and looking out. Does the chair mean something?
I think he's like watching his life from the outside, because the scenes behind him are like the stars again. You see the stars at some point. You see like a really fast pace, the typical like awesome cinematography of moving fast paced through a city, and it looks like it's Seoul. You know, you see an airplane in the background at some point. Like you almost see like the things that he's kind of like watching from the Daydream he's watching on the other end, almost like they flipped. Instead of the idol version of him being the dominant, it's almost like this other Daydream side was the dominant.
And I just want to call out the very first shot in the video is of Seoul at sunset, as if you're flying in with a plane. It's gorgeous. Love the pinks and purples in the sky there and the detail. It's really pretty.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's referencing probably the moment when he first saw that sight. Yeah, that's when you know you made it. You're flying back home. Right. Maybe after the trip to Japan that he talks about in the lyrics. Yeah. His first trip to Japan. Maybe he flew back and saw Seoul by sunset. And that was a special moment.
Yeah. Ariana, I'm totally buying, like, this is like, oh my gosh, here we go again. A dream within a dream. Like Inception. I don't know how much else we have that in K-pop. But I totally agree with your theory, but for me, like, this is the start from the bottom, now we here. Like, this is like we made it. Like, you know, now the whole team here started from the bottom, now we here. And like that he references the haters, right? In the song, it's like, yo, you're envious of my fame because I work so hard to get here.
Okay, we popping champagne like we won a championship game. Bottles on me. Bartender send me another one. Room full of models and bottles coming. Okay, we popping champagne like we won a championship game. Bottles on me. Bartender send me another one. Room full of models and bottles coming. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
But we're going to get to the audio a little bit, but it's also a weird shift, because normally that type of song is really upbeat. It's the banger.
Oh yeah, it's the one with attitude.
It's normally the banger of the album. I would say, again, like going back, like August D, that was his first single. August D is talking about the haters and look at how much I'm doing, and it's a banger. Yeah. This is this like slow moving, beautiful hip hop song, kind of melancholy. Yeah. And the video is very somber and quiet, and him by himself, and he looks kind of sad. And so I think that's he like literally took both songs and turned them upside on their head, you know, because it's not what you would typically do in those kinds of songs.
Yeah.
Right. No, I noticed the line about, no, I laugh at the haters, like I'm a boss, this kind of thing. It felt a little out of place, given the rest of the song and the music video, the visuals. It just didn't have that vibe. So it kind of caught me off guard that he had the lines about laughing at the haters, and he had some funny Konglish sprinkles throughout. I think in verse 2, there's a verse about clouds, and then at the end of every phrase, he throws in an English word. He's like, over the clouds, deep in my feelings. And then with the clouds, check it. Me and the clouds have chemistry. I'm fading. Then he just like adds English at the end. I thought it was so cute and fun. He's clearly having fun with writing the lyrics for this.
That's him.
He's also just picking up English really fast. Like, you can see it started to come out a little bit more and more.
Yeah. I really like the line where he says he loves airplane mode because he
Yes.
can like throw all his worries and concerns away.
Oh my gosh, I'm stealing that now. Like that, like you know that whenever
airplane mode is the best.
Yes, whenever I want to be like, yo, screw you, like ignore the haters, airplane mode. Like that's my new catchphrase. I'm stealing.
It's
from
either
Jay.
blocking or airplane mode.
Yes.
Hashtag airplane mode.
Airplane mode to get the haters away.
Yeah, we should make that happen.
airplane mode
Some interesting backstory about the song. He actually wrote this on an airplane.
Of course.
Looking, and he said he was thinking about being on a plane for the first time and being a kid and being excited. Like that's obviously what the whole song is about. But he also decided in the audio you can hear it's during the chorus. It's almost like an echoing effect.
Yep.
But that's actually the other members of BTS singing behind him. Isn't that great?
No kidding.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I thought that was really cool. He said he wanted to include them on the song because he shares this experience on airplanes with them and shares this experience of travel.
그때 나를 다시 기억해 메마른 땅이 나 불태울 때저 푸른 하늘 보며 뛰었네 그때를 생각해 이 airplane 누군가도 나를 기억해 그 누군가도 그도 외롭게 hey yeah 신경 안 써 그저 행복해 성공을 느껴 in my airplane
And apparently there's a version of this of just RM doing it because he helped him write the hook, and there's just a version of RM doing this somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mind
I just
blown.
think it's like it's weirdly like it's just so. I have a little bit of an issue with this song because I find it not like really in my wheelhouse. Going back to like, it's not quite the kind of sound that I like. But it's to me the part that I love about it is it's so personal to him, and you can feel that. It's maybe not the most complicated. It doesn't have the best lyrics, but it literally you can hear how much passion he has behind the song, and you also realize like he's a good singer. Like he has a very good voice. And you don't see it as much in like Daydream. You see it a little bit more in this song.
Right. It does give you another different type of personality, which you only get in this song.
Right. So speaking of his lovely voice, shall we move on to the audio?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Peter, I'll call on you. What did you think of the audio of this one? There's a little more bass in it. Is that enough for you?
Yeah. Okay. Like just because it has bass doesn't mean that it's always going to be good, you guys. Forewarning. But
I thought, oh, foreshadowing.
Yes. I will say that you get rewarded for having the binaural experience. So this is like whenever you're wearing headphones or you're sitting in a car with like stereo speakers where you have your left channel and your right channel, you get that effect where in those ad libs or like as you're saying, Ariana, like when you hear the other members singing in the background, you hear them on separate channels. So you hear them on the left side and then on the right side. And like I don't know, that effect I really liked. It has I feel the feels in the audio of this song, and as you're saying, Stephanie, like maybe we've just become so cultured to expect like sort of from the bottom that we hear as being like a tough banger attitude song, but this is like more of a somber reflective, and it's like I've made it. Like, I can't believe
I've made it.
Yes, like I did these things.
It's like spaced out.
Yeah.
And this reflects it. And it almost kind of reflects the sacrifice that it took him to get there. And you feel that in the song.
Well, and this idea that once you've made it, there's only a fall after, where's the peak and where's the fall? And I think even though we're pretty sure the fall isn't going to happen anytime soon, I think that's they always seem like every album they release could fail. And I think that comes from being underdogs, you know? There's always this possibility that it could fail. And so I think that it is coming from a somber place in a little way because of that, because it's like, oh, I'm in the airplane. We're in the airplane and we're going to descend eventually, whether that be just when they go into the army or, whether it even be before that.
The 7 year.
As an army, I'm pretty sure that's never going to happen. But, I think that's behind it is this, like, again, he kind of turned them on their heads, and kind of he's coming at this, I made it position, but with a very like wary sound.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I'm not going to rehash what everybody else says. I got the Drake vibe from this, but it's a more, like you said, mature, measured take on that style of song. Knowing the lyrics and knowing the concept, like I can't separate it then from the audio itself. If I try to, then I'm not as impressed with the song as a whole. But taking them as a package, love it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Taking the package is what makes it better.
Yeah, exactly. So for the concept, Ariana, want to kick us off with your score?
The concept, I think, if read into, it's a lot more interesting.
Right.
I don't necessarily care about the music video. I don't need to watch it much. I feel like I'm more interested in the song than the music video in this case, because again, it kind of has that weird somber Drake feel, which I'm not a huge fan of his music videos anyways. I'd probably actually give this like a solid 3. I think it was kind of like thrown together.
I would agree with that. I would also give it a 3. The visuals on this were not as strong. It's not as high budget, not as creative. The lyrics are what really carry the concept for me.
Yes. And this is where it becomes clear like how we weight things differently kind of according to our own separate like judging paradigms. For me, the message is usually the most important thing. And then the visuals augment that main message. I think we're all in agreement here that the visuals were kind of lacking in this one, but the message was so spot on. So for me, it's a 3.5.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Wow. That's shocking.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Well, it was a parking structure. I just never seen that in K-pop
Yeah,
before.
those parking structures.
Never before seen in all of K-pop. Oh man. All right, so Ariana, what about the somber Drake audio? Did it appeal to you?
Yeah, I would probably say in this case, I definitely think I like this song more. As I said, I'm not necessarily needing to watch the music video to enjoy the song. I think that it's different with Daydream. Like I like both, and I want to watch both, and listen. I can listen and watch it. Whereas this, I'm like, I don't necessarily need to watch it. But the song in this case is kind of interesting. I like the lyrics. I think they're a little repetitive, but it's kind of pretty, and I like his voice a lot. So I'll probably give this a little bit of a bump from the concept and go, I'm going to go 3.5 for this.
So for me, the song itself doesn't like hold my attention all the way throughout. It's pretty monotonous. But I do love that first drop with the bass. I'm already like, yeah. I can definitely see myself like bumping it for maybe 30, 40 seconds in the car.
There you go.
Let's be real. And then like once it gets to verse 2, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yes.
So with that makes it really hard. I think I'm going to have to give solid 3 here as well.
Okay. No, I clearly liked Daydream more. And looking at what I gave Daydream and what I want to give Airplane, it means I need to give Daydream a higher score. So if we go back in time, I gave it a 3.
Oh, man.
I like to bump that up to 3.1.
Oh, wow.
And then change
Huge change.
Airplane. And my score for Airplane is a 3. So I was close to giving it a 2.9, but you know what, Stephanie?
Is that allowed?
Well, look, here's the thing. When you said, like, you were, like, body rocking in your car, like, you're like, hey, like, I do, like, body rolls to it. Like, this is one that I definitely do that, too. And I've given worse songs lower scores and other similarly rated songs the same score. So I would still say Airplane is a pretty solid 3.
Being a Bay Area kid originally, I imagined this song driving down the 280 by like heading up to San Francisco.
Yes.
Oh my God,
that
is exactly what I had in mind.
Yes.
Is driving down like
with the like windows slightly open
with the water. Yeah. Oh man, that's it.
Just like windows slightly open.
After
just
work.
like
Well, not
when you're
after
like,
work because there's
second.
traffic. So not.
Oh,
okay, well,
after work when like you pass the traffic
during sunset. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's it. That's so funny that we had the same image.
Yeah, this is something like only Bay Area people can relate to, but take our word for it. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it captures the meaning, the essence of J-Hope's Airplane.
Skyline
airplane.
Boulevard.
Yes.
All right, cool. So, at the end of the day was J-Hope's Airplane. Daebak
or not?
Ariana, kick us off.
It's Daebak for me. It's one of those things for me that I definitely will, again, when the bass hits, I'm excited about the song. I don't think it's going to make it past like the next few months of something I really remember, but it's still something really interesting to me. It's a really interesting take, and it also can't necessarily be removed from the album.
Right.
But I think if I had it on my playlist in a month from now and it came up on random, I might skip it.
That's a good point. Like, you're totally agree. Like, you can't remove it from the album.
No.
Let's see. For me, barely Daebak. Just because it makes me bob my head in the car. But man, it's on the border for me. Not that great.
You can't see me, but I was like doing the dance motion and like, is this Daebak? Like, as I'm like going through the dances as if I'm driving, I'm just imagining like, does it pass that threshold? And I will say it does. By the skin of its teeth, it does. It's Daebak. Daebak.
Blue side, back to blue side, blue side, back to blue side.
So if you haven't been following us on the Twitter, you should. Just follow us at the Kpopcast. And every Tuesday, we hold a K-pop chat hosted by Supermatic. On the K-pop chat today, we talked about none other than J-Hope's mixtape. As a part of that chat, Twitter user Pink Fashion Ninja, or April from the Jin Cha Cha podcast, remarked that, in her opinion, this wasn't exactly her favorite BTS mixtape.
Yeah, in it she mentioned that whereas RM and Suga have more of a sense of their style and more of a sense of their storytelling, J-Hope is still not really finding his aesthetic outside of BTS. He still sounds like he does in BTS. Yeah. Rodri actually did point out the sense that because he isn't a musician, although the mixtape might be less distinct, it's the lyrics that he really sets himself apart. He's able to really do his storytelling through his lyrics, and he's still trying to find out the sound of it, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, that's a great point. We also had another comment from Twitter user uniquelyme_KC, who explained that both Airplane and Daydream were Daebak in this Twitter user's opinion, and they are good examples of Hobie's versatility as a rapper.
All right, so that's it for your J-Hope double shot on the Kpopcast.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends.
So, signing off, tell us where everyone can find you online and who's the next member of BTS you think should have their own mixtape.
So you can follow me at DJ Peter Lowe, and the next member of BTS who should have their own mixtape. Which is actually a really challenging question, because I feel like there's who should be next, and there's who I want to
You
be
can't
next.
just answer the question.
Okay.
And who I really think should be next should be someone other than Rapmon. But who I really want to be next is Rapmon, because Rapmon is
think
like the genius, like the Einstein of our age.
Yeah.
And the reason why he shouldn't be next, is because he should go last, because he needs to drop the mic, and everyone will be like, because everyone's minds will be like blown from what he drops, and it'll be too hard to follow it. And like, really, as like the spiritual like leader, at least for us Westerners, like, he really needs to let his other members shine before he like makes it impossible to follow.
That's true. Everyone would compare the other solo efforts to Rapmon, and it would be a disaster.
And the last one came out 3 or 4 years ago, so it would be so different anyways. It'd be really cool to see what it sounds like now. Okay, for me, I'm actually going to switch it up and go with a singer. I would probably like to say I would probably typically go with Jungkook, but I'm gonna go with V. I loved his solo so much, and it's such a he likes R&B, and I like R&B, so I would love to see him do an R&B album. It would be really cool, and I love him. I'm not going against my bias, Jin, by saying that. And you can reach me on Twitter at Ariana_Y_Khan.
And for me, you can find me on Twitter at sparker2, and I'm just gonna shamelessly be all over my bias and second V as he needs to come out with a whole like full length R&B sultry.
Just that album is going to be so good.
Just his voice is enough for me, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners agree.
Yeah.
Creativity out the window, concept out the window. Just have a video.
Sit in a chair and look at me.
Yes, just him in a chair singing. That's enough. Fives all the way.
Okay. All right. Well, and with that, good night, everyone. That's it for this episode of the Kpopcast. We'll catch you all next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Karma is gonna find you. What you gonna do, huh?
All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
Feel the bass go. Boom, 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 boom.
Or not.
Wow. I think we got it like perfectly.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like first time ever, first take.
I work very hard listening to you guys to try to match up what I'm listening. Because I'm like, okay, it goes like this.
I'm so flattered. That made me day.
I mouth it on the subway train sometimes.
Wow. Dedication. Love it.
지금 너의 무의식을 따라가 적어두는 이 세상을 바라봐.